Greetings from SteenSmokeHouse. I was looking at my older videos, actually the first video that I ever cooked food on, and I realized I made some mistakes and omissions, and I didn't really give that chicken a fair representation of what it deserved. I'm going to polish up my act a little bit. I'm going to actually list all the ingredients in the rub. I'm going to list the ingredients in the glaze, and I'm going to present it to you in a way that really does it justice. Russet Smoky Ribs was the one that I first saw that recipe on, and he did a splendid job. It's amazing. The first time or two, I've cooked it actually 3 times, it came out right. The time I filmed it for you, it didn't come out like I meant it to. So I'm going to use a pit barrel cooker again and redo pit barrel cooker chicken, the Hawaiian recipe. Stay tuned. Okay folks, here are the components to our rub that I'm going to mix together for you in just a moment. We've got 1½ tablespoons of paprika, 1½ tablespoons of kosher salt. I didn't add the container because we all know what that looks like. We've got 2 tablespoons of granulated garlic powder. We've got 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 tablespoon cayenne pepper, 1 teaspoon, I say teaspoon, of ground cumin. Cumin's really powerful stuff. 1 tablespoon of fresh ground pepper. I added some Chinese 5-spice powder. I think I put that in the list. And I added about a tablespoon of pit barrel cooker rub, all-purpose pit rub. I like to use pit barrel rub whenever I use a pit barrel, just kind of like just to stay consistent. So in a moment I'll mix these all together to show you what it looks like, and then we'll apply it to our chicken. Then I'm just going to whisk it up a little bit. Then I'm going to put it in a jar and shake it up a little bit more, and then it will be ready for our Hawaiian chicken project. This is some good looking rub, my friends. I am just going to pour this in a shaker bottle to make it easy to cover the chicken with. And this part of our recipe is done. And now the glaze. 1 cup pineapple juice, 1/2 cup ketchup, 1/2 cup soy sauce, 2 tablespoons rice vinegar, 1 tablespoon minced garlic. This guy here is ginger root, 2 teaspoons of ginger root. I'm going to combine it in a saucepan, simmer it, let it reduce, and I'll show you what it looks like along the way. And after that, that will become our glaze. I had a debate long and hard about doing this video because it was similar to the one we already did. So I talked to myself until we came to an agreement with my other self, and we are going to do it and do it right for you.
This is right at a 5-pound bird I bought at my local grocery store, just the same as you can get anywhere else. Today I'm going to use the same Dexter serrated edge bread knife that we used before to do it the first time, and this is an ideal tool I found to divide a chicken or a lot of other meats neatly and cleanly and safely. So you can watch again while I do it, and once we do that, we'll go on to the next step. Easy enough to do. Then, as you recall, now we have two nice, neat halves. I'm going to take them over and rinse them off and clean them, and then we'll come back and put our rub on. Here are our two chicken halves, and I'm going to go ahead and season this side of it, put our rub on. This time I actually did include a visual rundown of the ingredients of the rub, and there's also a text version that you can pause and copy, and this time it'll be a lot more clear for you. And as soon as I get done seasoning this side, we'll go on to the next step. While the breast side is down, I'm going to go ahead and put the hooks in. They go right about there under the breastbone and go all the way through, and they allow yourself enough room so you can hang our chicken on the rebar in the pit barrel cooker. And it goes just like that. Those are ready to go on this side, and we'll do the other side next. This side of our chicken's also getting a pretty generous amount of our Hawaiian chicken rub. Once it gets in the pit barrel cooker and it gets that pit barrel magic going, you're going to be amazed at the results. I'm really excited about what you're going to see later on this afternoon. So hang in there with me, please. Since we have so much extra space in the pit barrel cooker, I'm going to go ahead and put a rack of ribs in there too. I'm going to cut this little piece off the end right here. There's no bone in it, and it won't cook as well as the rest of it. I like the meat to be consistent, thickness, width, and so on. I'm not even going to take the membrane off this. I'm going to cook it just like it is, just to make it easy. This little piece wouldn't cook well anyway, and the rest will be just fine. There's a bone right there, and I didn't want the chicken to make the journey along, so we're going to put this rack of ribs in there, and it'll go with them and make a nice addition to our cook today. I'm going to go ahead and put our pit barrel hook in it, about 2 bones down, right about there. That'll give it plenty of space to hang on the rebar. Then flip it over, do the other side. I'm seasoning these identically, except on the ribs, I'm going to put some brown sugar on there because it makes a nice bark when it's hanging in the pit barrel. So I'll go get that. I'll be right back. Just a light dust of brown sugar is all it takes, and it makes a nice little crust on there, and it adds another little element of flavor. And now I'm gonna let these rest a bit while I fire up the pit barrel cooker. Okay, our pit barrel cooker is coming up to temp. As I showed you before, we use a full charcoal basket level with Kingsford charcoal. We pull out 40 briquettes, put them in the chimney starter. When they ash over, we pour them in the pit barrel cooker. We wait till it comes to temp, just a few minutes. I don't wait much longer than that. And then we hang the meat up. The only additions today are 2 chunks of mesquite. That'll complement our Hawaiian chicken and our ribs.
I'm going to put the ribs on first because they're going to take probably an hour longer to cook, maybe even longer. I'm figuring 3 to 3.5 hours for the ribs, probably 2 hours for the chicken. About halfway or 3/4 of the way through, we're going to start basting it with the glaze. I'm going to show you how to make and carry on from there. So, be back with you soon. Hey folks, our ribs have been on about an hour. I'm going to add the chicken now, and I'm going to show you what the pit barrel looks like when I do it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time out here today. Y'all have seen, when I say y'all, I mean you all have seen this before, but this chicken looks and smells amazing. I can't wait to get it on the pit barrel and let it cook for a little bit, but in the meantime, I'm going to take the lid off and let you watch me put the chicken on. Wow, that smells so good. I'm going to take a close-up shot of this once I get the chicken hanging on there, but right now, back to work. There's a close-up view for you. If you don't have a pit barrel cooker now, if you recall, I made an offer earlier this month, the month of May. If you buy one of these and buy it on SteenSmokeHouse, I will buy you a pit barrel cooker cover at my expense, shipping paid, everything. You will not regret it. I'm going to put the lid on and show you how good mine looks after 2 years and probably at least 100 cooks I've used it. Hang on. It looks like new because it's porcelain coated. It's not some barrel you got in a junkyard that has some unknown chemical in it. Buy one of these things, I promise you, you will not regret it. Anyway, back to cooking. Our glaze is really looking good. It's reduced down probably, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch in this little pot here, but I'm going to baste the pork and the chicken with the same glaze, but I'm going to baste them with a different pot. I've got another pot right here that I'm going to use for the ribs, and then this pot's going to stay for the chicken. I'm going to use different brushes. Poultry is kind of a thing you have to be careful of. It has its own little kind of characteristics that you don't want to mix with any kind of other meat. If I'm cooking on the big pit and I've got pork and beef on there, I don't mind blending the brushes together, but if I've got poultry with anything, poultry gets separated. And we're going to do the same thing here. I wish you could smell how good this is. It's really coming along nicely. So when I get ready to put it on the chicken and the pork, I'll be back. These are perfect. These are not what I cooked the last time. When I say last time, that was 20 videos ago, but these are perfect. I'm going to go ahead and baste them while you watch, flip them over, put them on the PVC, and finish them off.
Our Hawaiian chicken project is almost done. It's looking just exactly the way it's supposed to. I'm going to put it back in the PVC and let it finish, probably 15 minutes or so. Then I'm going to take it inside and put our ribs and chicken presentation together and show you what it looks like. I wasn't planning on cooking ribs today, but as you can see, everything came out legit. They have the right color. I used the same rub on the ribs that I did on the chicken, and I basted it with the same Hawaiian base that I put on the chicken. It complemented our ribs real well. I'm going to cut them up for you, and we'll see what they look like inside. And there they are. Our ribs with the Hawaiian rub and the Hawaiian base came out just right. I'm going to go ahead and take one, try it and see what it tastes like. They smell delicious and they look delicious, and yes, they are delicious. They're real tender. You bite right through it. If you remember, I did not take the membrane off this time, and I usually do. I can't really tell. I think that the way the pit barrel works, and even the way the big pit works, it kind of makes the membrane a non-issue. So I may just kind of skip that step in the future. It's a lot faster not to take it off. Sometimes they're difficult to take off, and sometimes they come off in one piece, but you can't tell that it's on there. And man, I'll tell you what, these ribs are legit. I'm delighted with this cook. This is exactly what I was trying to achieve. The aroma is great. It's nice and tender. In a moment, I'm going to cut it up and display it for you next to our rib project. Thanks so much for watching.
Okay, folks, here is our finished product. The ribs came out perfect. They have a nice smoke ring. They're really tender. I had difficulty slicing them up, and it wasn't until I got ready to put it for presentation that there's a bone that runs right in the center of them. But the ones that the bone wasn't running through were really, really tender, and everything around the bone is tender. The chicken came out exactly like I wanted to. It's got a nice glaze to it. It's got a great flavor. It's a little bit smoky hint from the mesquite wood we put in there. That Hawaiian rub we put on there came out right, and our glaze came out right. So all in all, I couldn't be happier with this cook. Just about like every pit barrel cook I've ever had. The only downside to the pit barrel cooker is the cleanup, and the cleanup is this. You only have to clean up this hook that the meat hangs on. Other than that, it takes care of itself. You let the coals kind of ash down. Usually the following day, I'll go ahead and take the basket out, wrap up the coals in foil, throw them away, and get it ready for the next cook. It's as easy as that. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend. I'll see you next time on SteenSmokeHouse.